Okay, so now let's look at how to graph a linear inequality in two variables. And I've got these three steps. So step one is to identify and graph the boundary line. If the inequality has equals in it, then that'll be a solid line. If the inequality does not have equals in it, then it's going to be dashed. Step two is test a point that is not on the boundary line. Is it a solution of the inequality? So the point 0, 0, I think, is the easiest point to use, unless the y-intercept of your inequality is 0, then it won't work. Yeah. So step three is then you're going to shade in one side of the boundary line. If the test point that you used in step two is a solution, then shade in the side that includes that point. Otherwise, shade the other side. So let's take a look at applying these steps to this example. All right, so step one is identify and graph the boundary line. So we've got y greater than or equal to 3/4 x minus 2. So the boundary line is going to be y equals 3/4 x minus 2. And because our inequality is greater than or equal to, this means that our boundary line is going to be solid. Okay. So we're going to graph y equals 3/4 x minus 2. So we've got a y-intercept of 2, -2, and we have a rise of 3 and a run of 4 right here. Right, and let's see, we have, so we had a rise of 3 and a run of 4. We could also have a negative rise of 3 and a negative run of 4. We're going to have another point right there. So this is going to be our boundary line, and it is solid because we have greater than or equal to. This is our boundary line. Now notice what's nice is that this point 0, 0 is not on our boundary line. So step two is to test a point that is not on the boundary line. So let me put step one. So step two is to find a point that's not on the boundary line, and 0, 0 is not on the boundary line. If it was, you could use another point like 1, 1 or -1, 1, something that's easy to do the math with, okay? But 0, 0 is going to be better. So we have our inequality. And now we're going to plug in 0 for y and 0 for x. And then ask, is 0 greater than or equal to -2? And that is true. So since that's true, then this means that the point 0, 0 is a solution. So 0, 0, I'm going to put this in green. So 0, 0 is a solution. And what that means in step three is the area above the boundary line, which includes our solution 0, 0, will get shaded in. So I'm going to shade in all of this area above our boundary line. So all of the ordered pairs we could come up with above this line will render true statements if we test it like we tested 0, 0. So when you graph inequalities, you're going to be shading in an area. In addition to shading in an area, you need to determine whether this is going to be, the boundary line is solid or if it's dashed. Okay, let me here. Let's see. This is y equals 3/4 x minus 2. All right, so this is an example of how you graph an inequality using these 3 steps that I just showed you.